court in Pakistan has sentenced a man to death over the murder of a teen social media influencer that sparked uproar across the country. Umar Hayat broke into the home of 17-year-old TikTok star Sana Yousaf in June last year after she rejected his repeated advances and shot her dead.
President Donald Trump's special envoy to Greenland, Jeff Landry, has begun his first visit to the Arctic island in a bid to build ties and make friends. "I'm here simply to build relationships, to look, to listen and to learn," Landry said after stepping off an official US plane in Greenland's capital, Nuuk, on Monday.
The New York Knicks, spurred by 38 points from Jalen Brunson, erased a 22-point fourth-quarter deficit to stun the Cleveland Cavaliers 115-104 in overtime in Game 1 of the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks looked done for when they trailed 93-71 with 7:52 left in regulation time on Tuesday, but Brunson spearheaded an 18-1 run and banked in a floater to tie it at 101-101 with 19.3 seconds left in regulation.
New Delhi, India, Abhijit Dipke has barely slept in the last 72 hours, fielding waves of messages on social media after a casual joke took an unexpected turn. The 30-year-old, a recent graduate in public relations from Boston University in the United States, finds himself leading a sweeping satirical political movement, the so-called Cockroach Janta Party. Janta is people in Hindi, being joined online by thousands of people with each passing day.
The United Nations has cut its growth forecast for the global economy, citing the fallout of the war on Iran. Global gross domestic product, GDP, is expected to grow 2.5% this year and 2.8% in 2027, the UN's Department of Economic and Social Affairs said in its latest forecast on Tuesday. Bangladesh have sealed a historic home test series win over Pakistan after handing the visitors a 78-run defeat in their second test in Sylhet. Spinner Taijul Islam took 6 wickets to lead the spirited home side series win on the 5th day of the match on Wednesday.
The federal government has decided to extend the Prime Minister's Youth Programme, PMYP, to Gilgit-Baltistan, allowing between 500 and 1,000 young people from the region to receive training in modern technologies, including information technology, cloud computing, cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. The decision was discussed during a meeting in Islamabad between Ghulam Abbas and Rana Mashhud Ahmed Khan. The meeting focused on expanding the Inavi TTC Huawei Prime Minister's Youth Skill Development Programme, PMYSDP, to Gilgit-Baltistan.
Lahore Development Authority, LDA, generated more than $2.111 billion through the open auction of residential and commercial plots held at Expo Centre, Johar Town on Tuesday. According to details, the auction included 58 residential and commercial properties, including education sites, hospital sites, commercial plots, petrol pump sites, marquee sites and commercial buildings.
Google has announced what it calls the biggest upgrade to the search box in more than 25 years, adding deeper AI features powered by Gemini 3.5 Flash. The company announced the update at its I/O conference, 1 year after the launch of AI Mode. Google said AI Mode now has more than 1 billion monthly users, while queries have more than doubled every quarter since launch.
The federal government is set to launch a new digital portal for the Workers' Welfare Fund, WF, aimed at simplifying financial assistance services for industrial workers across Pakistan. The portal has been developed by the National Information Technology Board in collaboration with the Workers' Welfare Fund as part of the country's broader e-governance initiative. The federal government has announced public holidays from May 26 to May 28 for Eid al-Adha, meaning the break will cover the first 2 days of Eid, while the third day of Eid will remain a working day. According to an official notification issued by the Cabinet Division on May 20, 2026, Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif has approved Tuesday, May 26, Wednesday, May 27 and Thursday, May 28 as public holidays on the occasion of Eid al-Adha.
Ahead Eid al-Azha, the Punjab government has prohibited several activities injurious to public health, and that also disturbed public peace under Section 144 from May 27 to June 2. A notification issued by the Punjab Home Department, dated May 19, said that during Eid al-Azha, people sit by the roadside and roast the heads and feet of sacrificial animals, which caused unhealthy smoke and an unpleasant smell. Factories across Bangladesh, the world's second-largest clothes supplier, have turned off fans and coolers due to energy cuts caused by the Middle East conflict, with workers sweltering and a drop in productivity likely costing billions of dollars. As Bangladesh enters the hottest time of the year, since late April, the garment industry belt around the capital Dhaka has endured alternating rain and scorching heat. The federal government on Wednesday announced a 3-day public holiday from May 26-28 to mark Eid al-Azha. According to a notification issued by the Cabinet Division, shared by state-run APP on the social media platform X, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif declared May 26-28 as public holidays on the occasion of Eid al-Azha. Deep beneath the crystal turquoise water, white sandy beaches and thatched overwater bungalows of the Maldives lies a deep and narrow system of caves, devoid of light and the colourful marine life that inhabits higher waters. The seas were rough and the wind was picking up late Thursday morning when a team of 5 experienced Italian divers plunged toward these pitch-black caverns off the Vavu Atoll, about an hour south by speedboat of the capital Malé. Burt Jones and Rick Jackson have advanced to a runoff in Georgia's Republican primary for governor, extending a bruising fight over who will represent the party in November's midterm election. Jones, Georgia's lieutenant governor, and Jackson, a healthcare billionaire, will face each other again in the June 16 runoff after neither secured enough support to win the nomination outright following voting on Tuesday.
Google is completely revamping its search experience, and that doesn't stop at YouTube. Like the rest of Google, YouTube's search bar is getting infused with AI tools like Ask YouTube, a feature that is supposed to give users a more sophisticated search experience. With Ask YouTube, you can ask more complex search queries, such as wanting tips on how to teach your kid to ride a bike, or finding creator reviews of cozy games to play before bedtime, the company explained. You can even ask follow-up questions to continue refining what you're looking for.
Lahore High Court, LHC, on Tuesday rejected a request seeking suspension of the Punjab government's notification, announcing nearly 3 months of summer vacations for educational institutions across the province. Justice Khalid Ishaq heard a petition filed by the All Pakistan Private Schools Federation challenging the summer vacation schedule announced by the Punjab government from May 22 to August 23.
Spinner Taijul Islam took 6 wickets to lead Bangladesh to a 78-run win over Pakistan in the second test and clinch a famous 2-all series win on Wednesday. Pakistan, who started the 5th day on 316-7 while chasing a record 437, were bowled out for 328 in the first session in Sylhet after Mohammad Rizwan hit a valiant 94. President Xi Jinping hailed China and Russia's unyielding ties in talks with Vladimir Putin on Wednesday, as the pair met to underscore their alliance days after US President Donald Trump's visit to the Asian superpower economy. After the US president was received with pomp last week, but left without major breakthroughs, including on help with reopening the Strait of Hormuz, Putin's visit will be scrutinized for tangible takeaways.
Taiwanese author Yang Shuangzi and translator Ling Qing won the International Booker Prize on Tuesday for Taiwan Travelogue, a playful post-colonial novel with a culinary bent. The prestigious award, which was handed out in a ceremony at London's Tate Modern Gallery, recognises works of fiction from around the world that have been translated into English.
China said Wednesday it will buy 200 Boeing aircraft and work with the US to reduce tariffs, confirming some details from the outcome of President Donald Trump's visit to Beijing last week. The deal, which would end a virtual sales freeze on Boeing aircraft to China of nearly a decade, was announced by the Chinese Commerce Ministry on Wednesday. Chinese leader Xi Jinping hailed ties with Russia as a force of calm amid chaos during a meeting with Vladimir Putin in Beijing on Wednesday, days after Xi hosted a fractious international situation and took a veiled jab at the US as he sat down with Putin in the Great Hall of the People for meetings kicking off the Russian leader's roughly 24-hour state visit in the Chinese capital. Opening batters Fakhar Zaman and Saim Ayub have been ruled out of the upcoming one-day international ODI series against Australia scheduled to begin on May 30, the Pakistan Cricket Board, PCB, said on Wednesday. According to a press release issued by the Cricket Board, both been advised to continue their rehabilitation programmes under the supervision of the PCB medical panel. Under the supervision of the PCB
US President Donald Trump has tightened his grip on the Republican Party as Kentucky voters ousted one of the few conservative lawmakers willing to openly challenge his authority, Congressman Thomas Massey's defeat, which was predicted by US news networks, including NBC and CNN, about 2 hours after polls closed on Tuesday, marks another victory in Trump's campaign to punish dissent within Republican ranks.
A meeting between Chinese leader Xi Jinping and visiting Russian President Vladimir Putin has started in Beijing, Chinese state media reports. Xi welcomed Putin on Wednesday to the Chinese capital, shaking hands with the Russian leader outside the Great Hall of the People in advance of their talks, video by Russian media showed.
Lahore, former Istehkam-i Pakistan Party IPP patron-in-chief Jahangir Khan Tareen said he has quit politics but will continue social work in the education sector. Speaking at the inauguration of a modern computer laboratory at Government Progressive Girls High School on Tuesday, he said, "I have quit politics, but I will continue to serve the education sector."
Indian Army Chief Gen Upendra Dwivedi's recent provocation, asking Pakistan to choose whether to remain part of geography or history, has once again exposed the contradictions that continue to define India's policy towards its western neighbour. The statement came barely days after an unusual chorus seemed to be emerging within sections of India's strategic and ideological establishment, one that seemed to be creating space for engagement with Islamabad. This led many to believe that New Delhi's political ecosystem was quietly preparing domestic opinion for a limited thaw with Islamabad. Karachi. Rights activists and community representatives have demanded that the government announce a comprehensive resettlement plan before carrying out any eviction or demolition drive in connection with the Karachi-Peshawar Main Line ML1 railway expansion project, and warned that the enforcement of the railway right-of-way RAW principle should not become a pretext for acquiring excessive land from the poor families living along the tracks. The ML1 project is seen as a game changer as it aims to upgrade and modernise the key infrastructure to enhance freight and passenger connectivity from Karachi to Peshawar. The work on the project is expected to begin in July 2026 from the Karachi port. United States President Donald Trump, his family and his businesses have been granted immunity from any ongoing audits into their tax affairs, according to a directive by the Department of Justice. The move on Tuesday came as an addendum to Trump's agreement a day earlier to settle a $10 BN lawsuit against the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, over the leak of his tax information to media outlets between 2018 and 2020.